Yes, welcome to our session on self-care today. I kind of call myself an advocate of self-care, self-worth, self-love, seeing my role in life as giving women permission to show up fully in their lives and be guided by their own happiness. Because as women, we tend to be caretakers to everyone and everything. Oh, it's asking me to to click a button. I'm not very techno-minded. So yes, I'm Lou. I'm a registered aromatherapist. That kind of came a little bit later, thanks to Dawn. My past life, I call it my past life now. I was a designer, a clothing designer. But I was looking for a more heart-filled path to follow when I moved to Canada in 2007. And so I followed the path of yoga and have taught yoga for the last 15 years, which has been amazing. And after introduction with Dawn, at a time where I guess I was kind of grasping for hope. My daughter had an immune challenge, and Dawn came up with some oils and some ideas, and we felt that hope return as we were able to support our daughter. But as most of you know, as you start to love on oils and your friends see you loving on oils, your friends start to ask you lots of questions. So I decided in my heart I needed to go back to school, and I became a registered aromatherapist, and I'm a member of the Canadian Association of Aromatherapists, which is wonderful because we get lots of courses and things coming up, which have just kind of given me a plethora of skills. So I want to talk about self-care because I feel like that has been my mission for probably the last 10 years in mentoring women and working with women, is showing them the tools and giving them the permission to put themselves first. We sometimes sit in that place of ego that we think that if we put ourselves first, that we're doing a disservice to others. But I want to kind of flip that around, because when we put ourselves first and our happiness, lots of things happen. For one, if you've got children, your children start to realize actually they're responsible for their own happiness, and their own happiness comes from within, not externally. And I've forgotten what I was going to say now. So that happens lots. So just bear with me. But today, what I wanted to do was give you guys some tips and tools for working with the oils to help you with self-care. And self-care has many different levels, not just therapeutic baths, but also learning to say no to people, and creating boundaries for ourselves and being open-hearted. But I wanted you to experience something with me, because I use essential oils in pretty much all the practices that I do for myself and for my clients and my students. So I wanted to start tonight with a meditation, which will help ground me as well as you guys too. I laugh and smile a lot, and I usually laugh at myself. I think that's a good place to be in. So I invite you, if you've got your oils handy, to get ginger. I am a ginger. I love ginger. Ginger plays a big part in my life. I want to tell you why ginger plays a big part. And when we're doing meditation, you can just be drawn to whatever oil you feel like using right now, but I'm going to tell you all about ginger. So ginger is our oil of empowerment. It's a really kind of feisty and sassy oil. It's got a lot of vim and vigor. So it asks you to fully show up in your life, and to participate. It's really good at stimulating and awakening our consciousness and kind of like blowing away the cobwebs. So when I'm using the oils in meditation or anything I do, I encourage my students and my clients to use it intuitively, but I'm going to give you some tips today. So before we go into the meditation that we're going to do today, I'm going to invite you to put a drop or two of ginger or whatever oil you're using in your hands and rub it together. And then take some nice deep breaths. And I want you to breathe into your hands for about a minute. Now, ginger helps you to remember that you are the one that has the power to create and transform your reality with the power of your mind. It's an oil that doesn't hold any reservations. It has a purpose, and you know what? It's going to fulfill it. It teaches us that for us to be successful in life, we've got to be committed to that life that we want. And the best bit of this, it infuses this warrior-like state. So for all those badass ladies in the room, this is a great oil to use. So now I want to invite you to close your eyes, and you can be sitting on the floor, sitting on a chair, it doesn't really matter, but I want you to have your feet connected to the floor. If closing your eyes feels unsafe or uncomfortable, then just soften your gaze down towards the floor. And bring your attention to your breath. Now, if you've still got some ginger on your hand, I invite you to rub it. It can be around the belly button or across the solar plexus, which is just underneath your bra line, and across the body. You can also take a few more drops if you like. Now, this area of our body is the area that deals with our power, or with our ego, with how we feel about ourselves. And then I want you to bring your attention to your breath. Following your inhale and your exhale. And again, not trying to be too judgmental if it's easier to breathe in than to breathe out, or easier to breathe out than it is to breathe in, just noting it. Sometimes when it's easier to breathe out, it's actually an indication of that we're in a state in our life where we're giving a lot. Sometimes when it's easier to breathe in, we might be in that place of reserving and holding back for ourselves. Again, just don't notice and don't judge. You can, if you like, bring in a mantra. A mantra is a repetition of words. They help us to kind of cross that place from here to there. And I like to use the words let go. Breathing in let as you breathe in, encouraging the things that you would like to come into your life. And as you breathe out, breathing out the word go, as you let go of anything that's not serving you. Take a moment to notice the body. Can you relax the jaw, relax the shoulders, relax the skin on the face. Meditation, for most of us, is the practice of meditation because our mind is constantly whirling. So if you find yourself distracted and you're lost in a thought for a moment, again, don't judge. Just when you notice that, bring yourself back to your breath. Ginger is a great oil for igniting our passions and our soul. So I invite you to listen to this piece. Value what ignites the flame within you. Value what inspires and interests you, what enrages you, what tickles and exhilarates you, and what sparks the fire within. Your strong feelings, what you love or hate, are not wrong. Your passions will lead and guide you in all that you do. From the tiniest idea to the grandest scheme, what makes your flame burn more brightly is the light shining from above, gently guiding the way. The universe will lead and guide you, tell you what you need to do. A message might come through in a story someone tells you, a place someone mentions that they liked, or a problem someone's having trouble resolving that attracts your attention with a bit of extra force. A movie that sticks in your mind, a book you couldn't put down, something you realize you hate, something you find you love after all, an idea you find interesting, something that makes you stop and think. Learn to tell how you react to what you see and hear. That's how you'll listen to what the universe has to say. That place may be the next place you've got to go on your path. The idea may be just what you're looking for to help you get unstuck. When you know what you're feeling deep inside, you'll know what you like. If you've grown cold and bored, you can come alive again. Feel whatever you need to feel, and you'll find your passion underneath. If you don't know when you feel sad and alone, then you won't know when you feel good either. Feel all the feelings that come your way. Each one has a lesson for you. And as you release that energy, you'll be releasing passion too. Value your passions and the way you feel. Soon you'll find yourself knowing just what to do and when. Stay open. Keep your fire burning bright. When you recognize what inspires you, you'll be recognizing the light. Bringing the palms of your hands together, everybody. Create a little heat and energy in your hands. And then place the hands over the eyes. Allow your eyes to gently open up to the backs of the hands. And then gently peel the hands away from your eyes as you let the light of the room in. Well, if you're new to meditation, I like guided meditations because they help us from feeling really antsy. But I use the oils throughout my yoga practice, and that for me is self-care. So I wanted to go over some of the oils that I like to use during my practice. And again, these can be used if you don't do meditation. You could be using the oils and doing deep breathing or grounding instead. So some of my favorites to use for meditation: sandalwood. So sandalwood is a base note oil. So the base note oils tend to be really good at grounding us and calming us. And this is also the oil of sacred devotion. So it really assists in any kind of spiritual worship. Then we've got frankincense. Frankincense, again, very peaceful and grounding oil. This one I like to place on the bottoms of my feet, also the heart. So if I ever mention the heart during this, I'm actually not talking about putting it right here on the chest where the heart is, but actually a lot of the places that I use are to do with the energy centers of the body, the meridians, the chakras, and also acupuncture points. So right between the bosom. That's the place that we're putting the oil. And frankincense tends to be a really nourishing and harmonizing oil, as well as very peaceful and grounding. One that until recently I had not used in this way, and as being kind of like an eye-opener to me, is arbor vitae. I love arbor vitae because arbor vitae comes from Vancouver and it kind of smells like the forests here, but it is the oil of divine grace. And so this one has been coming up a lot with my students and my clients, because right now people are feeling quite a lot of disconnection and a lot of feelings of being stuck in the direction of moving forward. And so not only is this the oil of divine grace, but a lot of the tree oils, we kind of find this help us to connect. So this is a great one for connection. Different places you can kind of put these, but one of the places I like to put arbor vitae is actually around the belly button. It's a place where we don't really think too much about putting essential oils, but if you think about it, that's where the umbilical cord was. That was our connection to our mother and our connection to Mother Earth. Also, back of the neck, then we're accessing the brain and the higher chakras. Ginger, we just tried. Lemongrass is another one. If we're just wanting to kind of like clear energy out and clear cobwebs, that's a great one to use. Or, as I said before, I encourage you to start choosing oils intuitively. In the beginning, I just would have all my oils out and I would just put my hand in and pick one out, and it usually was the one that I needed to be using. You can have fun with it. Oh, and last one I wanted to share with you here is neroli. Now, neroli is an oil that is great for stress and anxiety anyway, but when we're dealing with self-care, we can actually put it on the outside of the forearm from the little finger down. In Chinese medicine, this is called sanjiao, and this is a particularly good area for self-care and kind of nurturing ourselves, kind of like a hug in a bottle. When it comes to using the oils in yoga class, again, kind of like cultivating awareness can be a really good one. Smells generally help us to be there in the present moment. So instead of kind of drifting off in your pose, it allows you to be super present and notice what's going on emotionally and physically. So if your knee hurts, maybe, you know, adjusting the pose, or if you feel an emotion coming up. So some of my favorites to use in these are oils that open up the airways and oils that kind of make me feel alert and awake. So wintergreen is a great one. Wintergreen is the oil of surrender. So it's a really good oil for letting go, especially when we tend to, as humans, hold on to stuff really tightly. So if you're feeling like that and you feel like you've got stuck energy going on, actually using wintergreen along the tops of the shoulders. So this is actually getting into the kidney meridians, where we tend to kind of hold on to some of that stuff that really needs to just be from the past and moving on. If you don't have wintergreen, deep blue is a good one too, because it has the wintergreen in. I also like to apply this to the lower back if you're going to be doing back bends or any heart opening stuff. It just creates energetic support and physical support. Breathe, easy air, peppermint are really good ones for, you know, just taking a few breaths and opening up the chest. So actually placing it on the chest, just allowing the heart to be open and full. So these are really good at the beginning of class. And then at the end of class, when we kind of get to Shavasana, and if you don't do yoga, maybe even just like when you're having some relaxation time, rose is a great high vibrational oil, very healing oil. So I like to use that in the heart center. And the inside of the forearms, when we're working emotionally, is a great place to put oils, whether it's on the wrist crease or the inside of the elbow. These channels here, actually, we've got our pericardium, the lung, and the heart here. So if we're wanting to access heart stuff, we don't have to put it directly on the heart. You can put it there and here too. We all know we like to use the oils a lot. So less is more, but sometimes more is more. Some other ones for relaxation that I really like to use, Melissa. This is actually one of my favorite oils ever. The whole, if you were stuck on a desert island, this would be one of them. So Melissa is the oil of light. It kind of reminds us of why the heck we came to earth and what our purpose is and what our mission is. So it's an oil that works really well with stress and overwhelm. When that's a feeling I'm feeling or someone I'm working with, we very much work on the heart. If you're wanting to kind of open up your vision to get some of those answers to what your direction is, third eye and top of the head can be great places to work with those oils. Rum and chamomile, it's another one that kind of works in conjunction with Melissa. They have very similar kind of energetic properties. It's a powerful healer. It's very much about spiritual purpose and discovering your purpose, and it also kind of softens the ego. It's a great oil for calm and relaxation. Patchouli, this is one that I kind of steered clear of for many, many years until I kind of resolved some things with it. And now it's like one of my favorite oils to use. So if you're kind of feeling a little bit like, you know, there's a disconnection with your higher self, or, you know, you're kind of stuck in that rut, or you're feeling a little flighty, patchouli on the bottom of your feet is a really good way to kind of pull things in. It's also a great oil if you're making these shifts and changes and you've started to add self-care in as a daily basis. I'm going to say self-care is not a luxury. It is a necessity. It is something, especially as ladies, if there's any guys on here, you can be doing it too, but especially as ladies, we need to be making that a priority. And so when we make those shifts, sometimes other people in our life don't like those shifts. And so we start to kind of pull back and think, do I deserve to have that time for myself? So patchouli on the bottom of your feet is a really good way to kind of take those new habits that you're implementing and kind of cement them in place so that you can start to move forward with that. Also geranium, I like geranium as well on the heart space. It's great oil for trust and inner knowing. Some other things for self-care, journaling. If you haven't ever tried journaling before, there's no art or skill to it. Just suggest that you get a pretty book and a nice pen and you just start writing down your thoughts and feelings, because at the end of the day, if we let all the thoughts and feelings sit in us, sometimes some of those get stuck. and they come up at inappropriate times, or they might give us discomfort in the body. And so instead of kind of like letting them all pile on top of each other, which we tend to do, it's a great way to kind of process feelings. So when I'm doing journaling, I like to kind of set myself time for it, have some great blends diffusing. So oils like basil, you could use your peppermint again, things that just kind of help you focus, can be really good. Another oil I was actually thinking of is lavender. So lavender not only is relaxing, and we know it's good for our skin and all those kind of things, actually applying it to the third eye and to the throat helps with communication, and not just communication, but communicating in a way that other people understand. Sometimes part of our self-care is actually finding our voice again and being able to communicate to others what we need and not feeling guilty for that side of things. Grounding technique is another technique that you can use with oils or without oils, but it's a really good way if you have been feeling kind of overwhelmed with day-to-day life right now, is to actually just get outside in nature. Get out in your garden, on your balcony, on your deck. If you can do bare feet, if it's not snowing and too cold, it's really good to just kind of get out there and focus in on your senses. Oils can kind of take this to the next level. Oils like frankincense, vetiver, patchouli, cedarwood, that are very grounding, and put on your feet first, balance. And then it's a technique where you go outside and you just close your eyes and you just take some moments breathing, and you listen to what is around you, and you smell and see if you notice what smells there are, and you tune in to what you can feel on your skin. So it might be that you smell the sunshine and you feel the sunshine on your skin, and you hear the birds tweeting. And what this does is it actually, a lot of people's nervous systems right now are in kind of overdrive, and so we get a lot of we're in flight or fright way too much. I'm seeing a lot more adrenal fatigue in clients that I work with. And so this is a really good way to kind of train yourself to like come back down again. So what I'll usually have people do is, if they're feeling very, very stressed, note where they feel on a scale of 1 to 10, and then go and do the grounding technique, and then wait till they feel like they're not a 10 out of 10, and don't ever wait till you're like feeling like a 15 out of 10 before you go try doing this. Again, if any of these things I'm throwing out here, you're like, what was that again, Lou? Please feel free to reach out to me afterwards. Another thing I suggest having is a gratitude practice. And this is a big self-care one for me. Having the attitude of gratitude. It's hard when we have challenges to see the goodness in those things. But with practice, we can start to see, even in the challenges in life, that the universe is on our side, not on our side. And so with this one, I like to think of 3 things first thing in the morning that I'm grateful for before my feet even touch the floor. I have a bottle of Balance next to the side of my bed as well, and I put Balance on my feet, and I think of my 3 things. If you want to kind of instill that a little more, you can actually write those 3 things down. And then at nighttime, as a reminder, I actually have a gratitude rock at the side of my bed and my frankincense. So again, I put my frankincense on wherever I intuitively feel, and I hold my rock, and I think about the thing that I feel most grateful for throughout the day. Now, the trick with this is you go through all the different things that have happened that were good to find the best thing. So as you fall to sleep, your mind is full of all the things that you were grateful for that day. So it's kind of like a trick to kind of help our minds not lock onto those worries. Oils also that you could use at night here while doing that. Wild orange is a great one for sleep anyway, but wild orange on the heart and the throat remind us that we're surrounded by people who care, even if those aren't apparent to us, and that our world is full of abundance. I could go on all night, so I'm just going to mention a few other ones. I love body brushing. So if you've not body brushed before, this is a great thing to just get everything flowing in the body, or the lymph working well, best to do first thing in the morning. I actually go work out first thing in the morning, so I do it when I come back. And you can use oils on this, and again, you can choose ones you like. Cypress is a great one to use because it encourages flow in the body anyway, and flow in the energy, and moving stagnant energy out. I like to use grapefruit or slim and sassy. And with body brushing, you're starting from your feet and you're moving the flow all the way up to the heart, and you're moving from your arms up towards your heart, and then down your back. I'm not going to do a demonstration right now, but if you kind of Google, you'll find some basics on the strokes that you need, but you can just put the oils on the brush too, and it just kind of takes it to the next level. Therapeutic baths are another great thing to do. With therapeutic baths, it's not a time to be washing your hair and washing your body. If you're stinky, take a shower first, and then fill your bath up nice and full. Make sure the water's not too hot, but warm enough. And you can use Epsom salts or another carrier. What's nice with that is that you can put oils directly in if they're very gentle oils, but I prefer to kind of mix it with something so that it mixes throughout the bath. You're looking at about 10 to 20 drops mixed in. I make a whole thing of it and put candles and, a glass of wine and throw the rose petals in. So I'm like, Cleopatra. And you want to be in the bath for a good 20 to 40 minutes. Now, if you're doing something like Serenity, which I love to do, be advised, don't do it in the morning and then expect that you'll get anything done. You'll probably need a nap. The last time I tried that, I didn't do anything for the rest of the day. So I leave that one as part of my bedtime ritual. So some other oils for emotional support, which until I started on this path of discovering, I didn't really use these oils very much, and they've become a big part of my life now. So marjoram is really good when we feel like we're closing our heart wall, when something's happened and we've gone through trauma and we're kind of like wary of opening that back up. Marjoram is great for that. Cinnamon on your tongue not only stops the sugar cravings, which I had to break through after a year of COVID eating, but it also brings out our sass and our feistiness. It's also the oil of kind of being vibrant and alive and bringing out authenticity. When we regularly use it, it actually makes us as a being really attractive for others to be around on an energetic level, which is super cool. Cypress, I use this one a lot. This one is good for removing stagnation. So if you're feeling stuck, or that there's something that energetically, emotionally needs to shift, cypress is a really great one for that. Across the heart, across the chest, if we're dealing with things that are heart related, if we're just wanting to kind of shift everything in the body up and down the spine with cypress. Plus, we'll smell great. Helichrysum, this one's called Liquid Stitches. So this one is a great one to help us forgive ourselves. And so that might sound a little odd when we're talking about self-care, but when we start, as women, especially if you're a people pleaser, I like to say I'm almost a reformed people pleaser, but we all slip back to that. We can be met with feeling guilty for taking time for ourselves because we often feel like we have to be everything for everyone. So helichrysum is a really good one for forgiving ourselves for that and helping ourselves to heal. So again, heart center can be good on here and the inside of the arms. Cilantro is a good one for release and control. So sometimes we feel that we have to be in control of everyone and everything to make sure everybody is all right. Lots of cilantro and wintergreen to just let that go. And then thyme for forgiveness. So there's lots of oils, and I wanted to share with you guys in case you haven't come across the books, some of the books that I like to use in the emotional side of things and the self-care side of things. The Essential Emotions book is an amazing book, and it has pretty much all the doTERRA oils in there. So it's a good place to start. It gives you ideas of oils to diffuse. Diffusing is a great one for self-care because it's a really good one for just like shifting our emotional energy. When we smell, it's the only sense that accesses all the parts of the brain at once. And so what we tend to happen is a smell will trigger a memory that we might not have even thought about for years. And so diffusing oils is a great one, especially if you're having a day where you're not feeling too good. One that takes this to another level, her name is Margaret Ann Lembo, and this is Essential Guide to Aromatherapy and Vibrational Healing. And in here, there are affirmations for the oils. There are all the kind of regular things like the chemical components, but it gives you ideas of crystals that work with it, spiritual uses, mental uses, and emotional uses, as well as the physical ones. You also get divine guidance, and then extra little tidbits in there. And then this one came into my life more recently, Gifts of Essential Oils. I do know that this is an Australian book, but it is available now in the US and in Canada. I got mine from the US. And this one is really sweet, the way it talks about the oils as people, and the beautiful energy that each of them bring. And then the last one I wanted to share is the Blossoming Heart. And again, it's kind of nice to delve it, like if you are interested, bless you, Dawn. If you are interested in the emotional component of oils, kind of exploring all 4 of these and then finding what works for you, because they're all different with what they come up with. And I think as you start to tap into like looking after yourself and self-care, the oils and other things will start to talk to you. And if you were interested in knowing more about self-care, I did say I'm a self-care advocate. I actually wrote my first book this year. It's called Dare to Sparkle, 30 Days of Self-Care Bravery. And it takes you through different things that you can do to bring yourself into having self-care as a necessity and not as a luxury. And I'm currently working on the journal to go with this, because everyone kept saying, I don't want to write in the book. So I'm creating a journal to go with it that you can write in.